spoilers for Kung Fu Panda 4. Okay, so Kung Fu Panda 4 came about like a week ago here in the UK, and I saw it. I don't really know what else to say. Let's just go. Wow, Awkwafina wasn't awful in this movie. It wasn't that good, and the writing went beyond that, but the performance is fine, I guess. Not annoying like just Raya and the Last Dragon, which I will make an analysis on sometime. But she meets Poe, and when she like tries to steal stuff from the Gade Palace, and she gets locked up, and she helps Poe get to the Chameleon, who is the villain of this movie, who we will get to. And it's obvious she will betray Poe and then join him again. Anyway, so they get to the Mid-Million Palace, and she betrays Poe. Wow, so what a shocking plot development. Then she immediately regrets it without thinking, and I just can't take the terrible writing anymore. Okay, whatever. Oh, also there's meant to be a big emotional moment where she hugs Poe and makes up with him, and all I could think was, stop reminding me that Kung Fu Panda 2 exists, like an actual masterpiece instead of this painfully mid-movie. Okay, so I know I'm meant to be doing characters right now, but I need to knock my shoulders. The pacing in this movie is so awful, so breakneck. I don't understand how a movie with such awful pacing gets through. Did like anyone proofread the script? Did they draft the script, or is it just like a first draft? They see it over all the emotional moments because we didn't have time because we cutted the film with other dumb, stupid stuff. And we only have 90 minutes, but so Awkwafina comes back in like 3 minutes and Poe forgives her immediately. Like, what do we have just like interesting character conflict? Not too much to awful. Okay, we need to talk about the good things, then we'll go back to the characters, I promise. So, okay, Lee and Ping's interactions are great and make me laugh over and over. It's great. The writing is shockingly good, actually. Also, there's some murderous bunnies, which, while being a rip-off of Secret Life of Pets, is done better than Secret Life of Pets. And, oops, look like I have to take off some more points to make me think about the Secret Life of Pets. So, yeah, good killer rabbit. Kill the new Dragon Warrior. Also, the animation is amazing. That's about it. Now, time to talk about the Chameleon. Kill me. I have a lot to say about this character. Okay, so, Kung Fu Panda, a franchise known for amazing villains made by DreamWorks, which is also known for overall having really, really cool and epic villains, most of the time. And this is the next installment in the franchise, and it's one of their biggest, with some of their best villains, so surely they pulled out all the stops to make an amazing villain. No, they did not. The Chameleon is really bad. He only has a very few minutes of screen time, which works wonders in some stories, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, where it's amazing that Death only has a limited amount of screen time. But Kung Fu Panda 4 is not a story like that. But okay, Hai Long, Shen, and Kai all dominate the movie whenever they're on screen. They're well-written characters, they can fight really well and in a way that's very fun to watch, and they reflect the message of the movie in an interesting and well-thought-out way. The universally considered weakest Kung Fu Panda villain was Kai. He had a less interesting motivation, even if it was still pretty cool. But he was still great, because he still somewhat reflected the message of Kung Fu Panda 3, I guess. He's voice acted really well. He has the sickest theme song in all of cinema. But overall, he was the weakest. For about 8 years, and then the Chameleon kicked him down the deck. Again, she has no presence, not nearly as much energy as the other 3 villains. Her motivation just straight up pissed me off. Like, her motivation that she was considered too small and weak to learn Kung Fu. Now, doesn't that contradict, like, the main theme of the entire franchise? Also, how? Especially considering one of the most respected Kung Fu masters in the franchise, he's a grasshopper. That's probably why the Furious Fire wasn't in the movie, because if she threw this big fit where she started explaining her backstory and Mantis was there and they just didn't acknowledge that. That would have been the funniest thing ever and it wouldn't be a good thing. Anyway, it's no wonder her motivation made up last minute. Yeah, and that's right. A Twitter thread revealed that the movie script was very troubled. Actually, it's called X, not Twitter. And that her motivation was made up at the last minute and they started writing the script not even knowing it. No wonder the movie pacing is so awful. She also had one of the lamest openings to any movie villain ever. Basically, she's transformed into someone I don't know, and listens to everybody in her team talking smack about her before revealing it's hard, dun dun dun. And then the dude who was talking the most smack about her gets kicked down the stairs by her, and that's the most evil action she does until the end of the movie. I'm not joking. Which is even worse considering the other villain from the franchise, some of the coolest introductions, like ever. Tai Lung is introduced who's locked up in a maximum security prison, which is interesting, but not as much as a real introduction where he breaks out of this maximum security prison with ease, which is insane because to the audience, because it had been drilled into their head that this is impossible. And the rest of the film continues to drill into our heads how unbelievably powerful Tai Lung is. And she's so threatening because in the rest of the movie, there's things like beat the Furious 5, which don't worry, we will mention. The first thing we see of Zhen is him taking over the city and genociding all the pandas. We only see like glimpses of that, and not confirmed at that point, but it counts in my book. Okay, shut up. We see him murder Master Rhino, and yeah, and while Kai's isn't as intimidating as Zhen or Tai Lung, his opening we see is still amazing, where we see he defeated every Kung Fu master in the spirit realm, which would include Tai Lung, Master Rhino, etc., etc. And we see him on screen actually defeat Master Oogway. Master Oogway. And again, the score. After her lackluster introduction, she has no scene before the climax to show how powerful she is. Though she can be a little bit intimidating. But as it is, she can't hold a peg against the other three goats. And also, since when did Zhen have any ability with Kung Fu? I thought that was why he had an army. I don't know. Also, she gets defeated by Awkwafina so easily, just using the staff that literally one-shots her. And the only reason it took so long is because Po is an idiot who didn't use it. When you realize that, you kind of lose any possibility of her being intimidating. And again, bad motivations. They were made up last minute. I've said this, but seriously, it contradicts the main theme of the franchise. And hey, I guess that's another reason the Furious also, her gimmick of changing forms, is used only a few times, being in her pathetic introduction and at the end. Imagine how cool it could be like the movie, where she starts at the beginning of the movie, she steals the stick of wisdom or whatever from Po in the opening, and then throughout the movie we see her go into the spirit realm. Yes, go in instead of having them come to her, and we see her defeat all the monsters one by one, and then we have like a 15-minute final battle where Po doesn't have the spirit realm stick or whatever, so he doesn't look like an idiot for not using it. And it would be so cool if Awkwafina could be the one to steal the stick back, like jumping on the back of it while the Chameleon's distracted, and then just go there, blam! And then after she doesn't betray in this version, because that plot point is idiotic, feels more earned when she becomes the Dragon Warrior. Although Parts of me fear from the opening Kung Fu Panda 5 going to be Awkwafina dying, which will render the film useless because it's already a side quest. But anyway, and it reeks of potential as it currently is. Also, like, Poe uses a debug stick on some random people in a bar. So why can't he use it on the literal main villain of the movie? Oh yeah, because plot convenience. The Chameleon is just a bad villain. They can kill her in one singular hit. An example of how this movie is nothing but a side quest, and Zhen's existence is the only important thing. The Chameleon. Oh, this one's a few times where I say it would have been better if this movie didn't have a villain. Anyway, did I say something about Poe? Let's talk about him briefly, because this section was a lot longer than I expected. Poe is fine in this movie. He's somewhat entertaining, not near as entertaining as he is in the real Kung Fu Panda movies. And it's kind of stupid how he trusts Zhen. God, I hate that name. I'm just gonna go back to calling her Awkwafina. Blah blah blah. She comes back immediately. Bad pacing, you get it. What I'm saying, that Poe has no arc in this movie because, again, this movie is just a side quest for him. Hey, so the Furious 5 straight up are not in this movie at all. Like, I don't mean they are, but they have nothing to do, like Shifu. I mean they are literally not in the movie. I don't know why. Like, they get written out in the beginning and they're on some big quests. It's probably because DreamWorks didn't pay the actors and the actors didn't want to come up with this mediocre as all hell sequel. Basically, Awkwafina breaks into the Jade Palace and then gets locked up because she smoked Poe in a fight somehow. Then suddenly Poe won out of nowhere because plot needs to happen. Anyway, then, and Awkwafina gets locked up. Yay, she's not here for the rest of the movie. Oh, never mind. They have to go to the Chameleon and Awkwafina is leading him. That one was boring and mid and probably the best part of the movie. Yeah, this act really doesn't exist. Basically, it just doesn't exist. It's just not there because, again, pacing. Okay, but for what little something there is, they go to the city where the Chameleon is, and then they go to Awkwafina's old home, where they all try to kill her, but then she talks them out of it, or Poe does. I really cannot be bothered to remember. And then they go to the Chameleon Palace, where Act 3 has, yeah, literally it, because this movie's pacing is so awful. So Act 3 could not be more right than unnatural because do you understand the movie pacing is awful yet? Do you? So Awkwafina Wolf betrays him and then has a big character leap and she meets with Poe and he doesn't like her. Then she hugs him like tigers from the second one but worse, and then they're friends again, and then she can meet, and then like they beat the Chameleon together at the end. Okay, this movie heavily advertised, not really heavily, because this movie didn't really have any advertising, shut the hell up, that the old villains were coming back. But they all have about a minute of screen time. And I hate, loathe, and despise how they give you gratitude towards Poe. Tai Lung I can half believe, but Kai and Shen? Really? Why would you do that? Speaking of which, Tai Lung does about 10 lines and Kai and Shen are only in background cameos and have no dialogue. Bringing back all the villains from the previous movie, my ass. This is the weakest Kung Fu Panda movie by a landslide. It's painfully mid and not needed. This section was a lot shorter than I expected. This isn't really a good movie. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, and it has a few great moments, but also plenty of terrible moments to balance it out. Overall, it's a 50%, 5 out of 10, 50 out of 100. Anyway, aren't you all excited for Kung Fu Panda 5? Whoa, boy, it can be so good! Also, I do have unironic hope for the wild robot. Don't mess them up, DreamWorks. I think I'm gonna just do a complete rewrite of this movie sometime. I'm telling you what I think they should have done while sticking to the basic premise. Anyway, Jeffrey Katzenberg, if you mess up the wild robot, I'll kill you in your sleep. But I've done that already. We're all mad here.